What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry questions arc. Last episode... Fuck, what happened? It was only yesterday, when you should be able to remember this. Well, I'm not gonna be able to. Yeah, Sakutaro died, and, Rosa went batshit crazy and, killed Sakutaro. Even though she doesn't believe in Sakutaro, and she also, like, broke a rabbit doll or something. I don't know if that's important, but it stuck with me because rabbit, Chiester sisters, Either way, now we're on a boat, and, Sakutaro's back already, because he never died, I guess. Sure, maybe. I mean, if he's a magical being, it would make sense that he can't die in the same way, because even when Virgilia got fucking destroyed, she didn't truly die. She reappeared, and I guess bullshitted Battler into believing, oh yeah, I didn't truly die, yada yada. So let's just continue with this. I'm assuming Mammon is talking right now, so... Sakutaro, do you recognize us? Do you know who we are? Ryu? Mammon? Ange? With a sleepy face as though waking up from a long slumber, Sakutaro looked all around him as he spoke. It's been a long time, Sakutaro. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've summoned you with my own power. And now, I'm the only one who can summon you. Uryu. Those words might have been a bit cruel. Sakutaro's face clouded over. In the past, I denied you. Now that I've summoned you, it means I've accepted your existence. Are you sure? Is it really alright for me to be summoned into Ange's world? His eyes were a bit frightened. It was only natural. I, who had played with him like a friend before, had suddenly denied him and tried to burn him with the magic-resisting toxin. It was only natural that he was scared. I apologize for that day. To you too, Mammon, and to the rest of you. Oh fuck, they're back? The hell, they're just gonna be like, yeah, let's just brush that aside. You didn't kill all of us. Nope, never happened. At some point, the rest of the Seven Sisters had gathered on the deck. No, they're always there. Always by my side. As long as I acknowledge that it's okay for them to be there, they'll always appear. Oh. Who's talking? Ange? Probably. Christ, we can't have 7 people on screen like this, okay? You certainly do exist, Lucifer, and Leviathan, and Satan, and Belphegor, and Mammon, and Beelzebub. Not Asmodeus. Oh, and Asmodeus. And Sakutaro, too. Are you sure? You're one challenging Beatrice, Ange. Is it okay for one in a position of denying witches to acknowledge us? As to whether magic exists or not in my world, sorry, but let me put that on hold. It's not like I myself acknowledge the existence of magic. But then, doesn't that contradict the fact that you're acknowledging us? It's because magic exists for people who believe. Even if I don't. If someone believes, then magic will exist in the human world. That fact won't change in the slightest whether I believe in magic or not. No, it mustn't change. That person just had to hold their head up high and believe in their own magic. I acknowledge that. So it wouldn't be strange at all for all of you to exist. Quite a play on words, but it's an interesting interpretation. What you're saying, Ange, is probably a devil's proof. A devil's proof? Ah, this shit again. Right? To prove the existence of demons, you just need to find one. But it's impossible to deny the existence of demons. Yeah, and we're here. That means whether Ange believes in magic or not, our existence is unshakable. Ryu? The magic-resisting toxin is disappearing from Ange. You're right. Even though you're in a position of denying magic, why? That's probably because I learned what it means to respect and acknowledge. Right now, I might be able to understand the depths of Maria and Beatrice's magic. In the past, I didn't believe in things like magic. Thinking something like that couldn't exist, I acted like I was closing my eyes tightly and couldn't see anything. But now I'm different. I get the feeling I can look right at the thing called magic and close in on its true nature. It definitely exists in some capacity. Unless literally all of this is bullshit. Like, if the stakes in Sakutaro are real people that Ange just happened to deny or unbefriend. Like, what if those 7 stakes were actual friends that she had in school, and they wouldn't help her get out of the situation she was in, so she left them? I suppose that's possible. How frustrating. It's truly rare to find a human so free of the magic-resisting toxin in this day and age. And she has such an uncommon genius for being a witch. That's right. If Ange tried to become a witch right now, she could grow to be a great witch, maybe even at Beatrice's level. Even so, she has acknowledged our existence and is our master. Most likely, Ange will be our final master. Let us think of this as our final service and apply ourselves to the fullest. Blah! But I just can't stand that Ange still doesn't believe in magic herself. Ange, please believe in magic too. Feels like a waste to finally have a master and have it not be a witch. Even so, you have outstanding talent. Wait, even though you have outstanding talent, I can make you one of the greatest of witches. Your goal is to attack witches. It's so frustrating. Well, even so, that's your life, the way you live. And in the world where you've decided that, there's nothing we can do to complain. Thanks for understanding me. Yeah, whether magic exists to me or not, that's up to me to decide. Regardless of whether magic actually does exist somewhere in the world or not. When I think about it, this world is so vast and yet so small. Billions of people live on the Earth, but I probably won't even meet 1% of those people. Even so, I will speak of a world. My world, which doesn't know even 1% of the world. I'm not qualified to deny the laws of a world I don't know. So just because magic doesn't exist in my world, I can't deny that magic exists in a world I don't know. That makes it a true devil's proof. No, maybe it's more like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I can be confident in the world I know. So even if that's denied by a complete stranger who doesn't know a thing about my world, that's nothing to worry about. And in the same way, I've got no right to deny a world I don't know, just because I don't know about it. Therefore, regardless of whether there's magic in my world or not, I can't deny the magic Maria taught me. Uryu, after all, even if you've never seen it, magic exists! Yes, that's why, as I've already said, you friends of the Witches' Alliance, Mariade Sorcière, can't be denied by me or anyone else. And proclaim that most important part again. Even though the sea breeze and the crashing of the waves were noisy, it was a time of silence. Both Sakutaro and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory reflected upon my words. And probably I did too. Does magic exist? Do witches exist? While ignoring what the answer would be for my own world, I acknowledged their existence. That contradiction was what I'd proclaimed so boldly. Thank you, Ange. If you'll acknowledge that much, can't you acknowledge witches too? No, that was a foolish question. You already have a clear answer to it. Sorry. Though, I do acknowledge that witches might exist somewhere in this world, but that doesn't shake my world. You won't acknowledge witches or magic. You'll definitely expose the truth of Rokkenjima. Right? Yes, that's my world. Even if a real witch exists, I won't acknowledge it in my world. No matter how much that witch tries to convince me. Your position is to attack witches, Ange. And I understand well that you haven't had the slightest wavering in that feeling. We are your furniture, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. We will always be by your side. We'll always be waiting for the day that we can be useful. Although, since you don't believe in magic, we can never be anything more than people to talk to. That's enough for now. We've been left room to exist. For that alone, we should thank and acknowledge Ange. In short, all of us are all together again. Uryu! Yeah! Sakutaro, let me squeeze you! Christ, this shit again? When Sakutaro was overcome with emotion and tears came to his eyes, the Seven Sisters closed in and mobbed him. They were also celebrating a long missed reunion. If their existence is permitted, they're definitely capable of existing here. Now, even if I don't permit it, they can exist. Because I acknowledge them, they showed their reunion's joy to me as well. As I watched over that scene, I reflected over what this journey of mine meant. Does Amakasa believe in magic or something? Because he's just always nearby for this shit, isn't he? I wonder if everyone will forgive me this way. And there's also the boat captain too, right? You've done enough. We are furniture. Just being summoned, just being allowed to be by your side makes us happy. Uryu! Ange, thank you very much. Come to think of it, why was I able to summon Sakutaro? No, it's the other way around. Why wasn't Maria able to summon Sakutaro? Oh yeah, that. Maria had despaired, thinking that Sakutaro had died, which meant she hadn't been able to summon him like this anymore. In the past, Maria said it was more advantageous in a summoning to have a vessel. However, a vessel is like training wheels, and it shouldn't be absolutely necessary. In other words, even if the stuffed animal lion that was Sakutaro's vessel didn't exist, it should have been possible to summon him. Now, when you put it like that, it's even a little doubtful whether summoned things can be limited by life or death. Moreover, Sakutaro should have been an especially important friend to Maria. She should have been able to strive hard to summon him one more time. It certainly was sad that the original stuffed animal vessel had been torn apart, but why did he die and become impossible to summon again? There are 2 Sakutaros! Or maybe he's like maybe it's like a Monokuma thing and there's multiple Sakutaro dolls. That's because, at that time, Maria saw my stuffed animal torn, and decided that I died. It's the same as the existence of magic. If Sakutaro has died in Lady Maria's world, then he can't exist in her world. Uryu. The shock of having her beloved stuffed animal torn apart had left a wound in her heart serious enough to prevent her from summoning her irreplaceable close friend. In Maria's eyes, Sakutaro died. So even if Sakutaro can exist like this to me, he cannot exist before her. I was always with Maria. When Maria cried, I was always right beside her, telling her not to cry. But my form, my voice, nothing of me will reach Maria now. Sakutaro hung his head, looking sad. After that incident, the nature of Maria's Sorcier rapidly began to change. Before then, the alliance was a peaceful thing. But after that incident, it grew full of shadier things, focusing on how to curse people you hate. That's true. Maria's diary began to show a clear change. So the magic reason for the ceremony, the deaths, was because Maria wanted revenge on her mother? That's weird, but okay. A diary is a mirror that reflects one's heart as it is. It probably showed the personality called Maria die, and be reborn as the evil witch personality, Maria. That's probably why she became so ki-hi-hi at that point, right? When she buried that diary in hatred and sadness, her heart surely wasn't satisfied. Because it wasn't satisfied, she had to bury it with hatred and sadness. And while still unsatisfied, she met with death. Maria was probably the type of kid to grow up and become a school shooter, even for Japan standards, seriously. I wonder if her unsatisfied soul has a hole opened in its chest from sadness even now, and continually wanders, dripping tears down and calling Sakutaro's name. Maria needs you. Uryu. What can I do to revive you in Maria's world? If I can learn that method, I'll be able to save Maria. That's the method of atonement I've been given. What can be done to revive Sakutaro? To Maria, my vessel had a very important meaning. The vessel. In other words, if we could revive the lion stuffed animal. But Mama Rosa made my stuffed animal herself, so only she can make it. Even inside the diary, Maria had asked this of Beatrice and was refused for that reason. The magical significance of a stuffed animal being unique and handmade is very large. Then, if we could make the same thing once more... But Aunt Rosa's already gone from this world. We can't make the same thing again. Was there ever another identical stuffed animal made or anything like that? He's a stuffed animal made to be Lady Maria's birthday present. and is the only one of his kind in the world. A handmade and unique vessel. That's why it conceals a great magical power. And if lost, it cannot be obtained again. It won't revive. Because she knew that, Maria watched that stuffed animal, which was unique in that world, get torn apart and despaired. Because it was the only one of its kind in the world, and she couldn't permit a compromise such as buying another one, she had despaired from the bottom of her heart. But Sakutaro is right here. Even without a vessel, he's here. Because I acknowledge that, he certainly exists in my world. Even if Maria doesn't acknowledge him, that cannot be denied. Right? Logically, that's true. But I think using the same logic to make Lady Maria accept him could be difficult. Maria, I'm not dead. I'm right here. Ryu. I'm sure that on Rokkenjima, I'll be able to be reunited with Maria. And no matter what, I'll revive the you that's inside Maria and let you be reunited. Can you do it? It'll probably be hard. Just like how, after being invited into the Witch's Alliance, I rejected it without understanding what it meant. She might also reject your existence. But I've got to do it. That's the only way I can atone for my sins. Ange! What's waiting on Rokkenjima? And what will happen? What will be created? Or maybe nothing will happen. That island, which was the beginning of everything, is the final destination of this journey. Final destination again. That's not a good joke, whatever. You are all furniture of a witch. So as your master, I have to take you home. To the Witch's Island. To Rokkenjima. That sounds like a transition, if I ever heard one. Oh, never mind. Even though the rays of the sun had been so strong, at some point clouds had started to hang down. The spray that hit my cheek might not all have come from crashing waves. Another typhoon? Oh, hi, Amakusa. Ange. Looks like we're gonna get a bit of a shower. Maybe you'd better go below deck. Amakusa called out to me with an expression that said, "Oh, you're still here?" When I looked up, I saw that the island's silhouette had gotten much larger. We might reach land very soon. I remember that the weather report had mentioned scattered rains. The sky wasn't dark enough for rain clouds. It'll probably be just for a short time. Even though the rain was light enough not to be a pain, having rain start to fall as we approached the island felt like some kind of fate. It was raining on October 4th, 1986 as well. I'm approaching the Rokkenjima of that day, and not just in distance. I went back down with Amakusa. He was carrying what looked like a really large and heavy golf bag. It was something Amakusa had brought back with him on a day when we'd split up. I didn't inquire as to its contents, but it was hard to imagine that they were anything peaceful. I won't go so far as to ask what's inside, but it looks heavy. Why are these things so darn heavy all the time? A French instructor taught me something interesting about that once. He said they should always be heavy. After all, a human life is heavier than the world, so these should be even heavier. What? It'd be nice if he didn't need to use them. That would be nice. Amakusa set the golf bag-like luggage down beside him. Okay. The plane? What? What kind of transition was that? A two-propeller aircraft touched down on the runway. Considering the weather, it couldn't have been a pleasant flight. Everything after this flight had been suspended due to weather. Oh, okay, we're still in the future. Cutting through the drizzle as she traversed the runway, Sumidera Kasumi entered the lobby with 2 black suits as guards. The 4 black suits who had been waiting inside the lobby stood up and respectfully lowered their heads in salute. Kasumi! Propeller planes certainly do shake. I wouldn't want to ride one again. We have a car prepared. Please, this way. They got into 2 luxury cars that had been rented. Ange should be heading for Rokkenjima, a deserted island. How convenient. You've arranged for some tools, I take it? Oh wait, that was Kasumi. Sorry, I had a frog in my throat. Yes, ma'am. The black suit in the passenger seat put a heavy bag that had been set by his feet onto his lap, opened the catch with a click, and showed Kasumi what was inside. Inside were several silver lumps of carefully wrapped aluminum foil. He peeled one open to show her. A black, blunt, automatic pistol peeked its face out. They're planning on killing Ange. Well, or her or Makasa. Or maybe they're just gonna try to injure her so they can actually get to her. Because, hey, shoot her shin, she's not exactly gonna be able to move very fast. Okay, now it is... The current time is 9:48. 9:48, probably. I couldn't tell which line was supposed to be which. The first day, October 4th, 1986. It was already approaching 10 at night. Oh, we're back at the island, I guess. Finally. By now, the typhoon had wrapped itself around Rokkenjima. Even the rose garden that had looked so beautiful midday was beaten down upon by the fierce winds and resisted with all its might, undulating and trying to keep the flowers from blowing away. In that rose garden was Shannon in the lead, Battler holding up an umbrella, Jessica and George carrying the sleeping Maria on his back, all heading for the guest house. We can at least make it to the guest house from here. Nice to see you, Battler, Mr. Main Character. Where have you been? Shannon, it's fine. You should go back and rest. Don't worry. Seeing you off is also part of my duty. The family conference is going on inside, and Mom and Genji are probably getting stressed. If we keep you, they'll misunderstand and think you were being lazy. That's right. Just graciously accepting our offer might be the best way to avoid burdening people. Thank you, Shannon. Not at all. Certainly, as Milady has said, it is very tense inside the mansion today. Therefore, coming with all of you allowed me a breath of fresh air, and I've been able to relax a bit. The family conference, huh? They went to all the trouble of chasing us kids out, so they're probably talking about something shady. Probably. I'm sure there's nothing we can do to help out. This was the episode with the dead Kinzo's theory. Yeah, okay. I'm starting to get this episode and episode 3 confused. Just trying to stay out of their way is probably the best way for us to be useful. Heh, I'm sure it's all just money. money. Even though they act like they're so rich most of the time, when it gets tough, they all start getting pushy. Why don't they just be graceful and split it evenly between everyone? That'd be awesome. It'd be nice if I got a share too. If I got some too, I'd split it with Shannon right away. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. Shannon isn't greedy at all. Normally, girls of your age would have tons of things they'd want to buy. I guess, but none of the things I want can be bought with money. Oh, how unselfish. If you lined up all the things I wanted, all the gold in the world wouldn't be enough. I doubt that. That's if you're talking about things that can be bought with money. I wonder what these things that can't be bought with money that Shannon wants are. Do you have any idea, George? Jesus Christ. Well, I wonder. I'm not Shannon, so how could I know? I don't know either. George and Shannon look down, their faces red. You can plan a wedding with money, it's no big deal. Battler had also heard about what was going on with them, so he knew what Jessica was teasing them about. George is a person I respect. I think you've met up with a really great person, Shannon. Yeah, I also feel relieved that we can leave Shannon to George. Stop teasing. It's a serious issue for us. More importantly, what about you, Jessica? Have you been able to get a little closer to Canon? Is that Battler? What? So you and Canon are like that? Well... That's dirty, George. Twisting the conversation around like that's dirty. I missed those guys, that's for sure. As they had an animated discussion with ups and downs, the 4 kids headed for the guest house. The annual family conference was extremely important to the Ushiromiyas family, and this year seemed like it was going to be especially important. Apparently, the family head, Kinzo, was personally going to be making a very serious announcement, and everyone other than the adults had been strictly ordered to leave. Battler hadn't attended the family conference in 6 years, so he didn't really notice. But according to Jessica, there seemed to be a very tense atmosphere tonight. Completely different from a normal year. Common sense made it clear that Kinzo, whose remaining life was short, was going to make some big announcement about the succession of the headship and the distribution of his fortune. I don't get it. Kinzo exists? Yes, that's right, Battler. Oh, shit. This doesn't make sense. But I'm Huh? That's not how you spell surprised. Right? It's surprise. Right? Am I just stupid? Whatever. But I'm surprised. To think that grandfather's actually gonna make an appearance. Oh yeah, Ange, I forgot. I see. So this is the witch's counterattack. I wanted to leave that joker called Kinzo face down a little longer, but it's probably about time to turn it over. Trump cards exist to be used. Damn. My theory that grandfather was dead since the beginning, and a different 18th person had snuck in, is now suddenly torn apart. I had foreseen that you'd begin to doubt Kinzo eventually. Yes, now your reasoning has all gone back to square one again, right? With this your theory that Kinzo was dead at the very beginning, and I was hiding as the 18th person, goes poof. Fuck. But no way I'll lose heart. That's only one theory gone. I'll attack you like a storm, like a tornado. I'd have it no other way. Even the first twilight has not yet begun. It is far too early to give up. That's right. And it's not like it was denied with the red truth. At this point in time, Battler's theory hasn't been defeated. It's too early to say that you've won. Yeah, that's right. It's still too early for me to just swallow her story. Grandfather is supposed to finally appear, but there's a chance that he'll talk about how his health has gotten worse and he won't appear after all. Uncle Kraus might be trying desperately to hide the fact that grandfather really is dead until the last second. Ha! I see, I see. You could also think of it that way. Do as you please. It will be resolved soon. Very soon. Wouldn't Jessica know if Kinzo's been dead or not? Like, you'd think she'd see Kinzo every now and then. Kinzo's totally gonna show up, isn't he? All of the relatives and Nanjo could be seen in the dining hall. Nanjo sat alone, quietly watching the wind and rain outside. Kraus sat down in the seat of his own rank, with Natsuki standing motionlessly at his side. The other siblings were gathered at the opposite end of the long table, whispering to each other. Is that true? Oh, what? Why is she in a different outfit? Isn't she Huh? Is that, like, an error? Ah. Yes. Maria said the person who gave her the umbrella was father. Oh, really? Not Beatrice this time? But Kinzo. What in the world? In other words, our strategy has collapsed from the roots. Not just our strategy. Since father is healthy and has said that he'll make an announcement himself, our trivial bargaining with Kraus was completely pointless. Yep. That old bastard. Why couldn't he have just shown himself right away without making a show of it? Thanks to that, we've just been quarreling with bro uselessly. Or maybe he wanted to test us on that point. I might not be one to talk since we aren't related by blood, but your father is very intelligent, correct? Who's speaking now? Our arguments during the day were probably overheard by one of the servants and reported to father. Incredible. The fact that we were making a fuss with father's inheritance as our goal is now right in the open. Just incredible. Oh, that's Eva. That was not Kyrie, that was me. Read the lines properly. Well, maybe I would if you had names. Eva uncharacteristically held her head, dejected. If, as Kyrie had said, everything had been going according to Kinzo's plans from the beginning, and if this was a huge setup that had been kept up for over a year, trying to find the siblings' true intentions, then they had fallen for it completely. We still don't know for sure that it's reached father's ears. No, it definitely has. Everyone but Kraus claimed that father was dead, and none of us believed in father's good health. It's already over. Father will make an announcement. Kraus will become the successor, and he'll say we aren't even qualified to wear the one wing. Oh, Rosa, get a hold of yourself. Rosa, I wonder if... Did I say Rosa? I meant Eva. Rosa, I wonder if Maria really received that umbrella from father. Huh? What do you mean? Maria might have seen Father. However, we haven't seen him. Maria only claims to have seen him. What are you saying? Are you saying Maria's lying? Calm down, Rosa. Maria didn't necessarily lie. Still, she's an innocent kid, right? For example, if Genji came up to her and said something like, "I was told by your grandfather to hand this to you, Maria," then even if Maria hadn't met Dad, she still might say that she got an umbrella from him, right? That's right. That trick could work. But what was it Maria said? Grandfather came and handed me the umbrella. Yes, that's what she said. She clearly said that she received an umbrella directly from Grandfather. Directly, huh? Then we're stuck. They often said that bad thinking is no better than sleeping. If you think about it a bit, all of this about the umbrella is a trivial problem. Why's that? Couldn't Maria have been bribed by Kraus to lie and say something that made it seem like Father was in good health? There is no evidence that Father actually handed the umbrella to her. Regardless of whom Maria received the umbrella from, assuming she was even given an umbrella in the first place, Father will appear very soon. Once Father's in front of us, the problem with the umbrella will become completely trivial. In other words, this is not the time to gossip about the umbrella issue. What do you mean this isn't the time? I see. I got it. This is probably what Kyrie's saying. Father is supposed to come here very soon, but the chance still remains that he'll get mad again and won't show up, right? I see. That's true. Maybe Kraus just said Father was going to appear at random in a desperate bid to buy time against our investigation. Father really is dead already, and Kraus is still lying and saying he's healthy. In short, if Father appears, then no schemes will be effective. There's no need to even think about that case. We're fish on the chopping board. We'd have no choice but to leave fate to the heavens and negotiate directly with Father. That means we'd have no choice but to let him clobber us with his fist, then prostrate ourselves and beg for money. But on the other hand, if Father doesn't appear, then our primary strategy isn't hampered in the least. I see. In short, no matter which way it goes, there's absolutely no need to get flustered now. That's it. If Father shows up, we just have to carry out the normal family conference. If he doesn't, we just have to keep on investigating Kraus. We can't let him talk his way out of it. Like if he says Father's mood has suddenly gotten worse. It seems what we really should be trying to figure out, sorry dog bark, is what scheme Kraus is going to try and trick us with. The way he just doesn't know how to give up is something I know better than anyone. If Father is well, we'll prostrate ourselves and beg for money. I don't know if that helped. If it's a farce of Kraus's, then we'll continue our ugly sibling fight. It sounds like this year's family conference is going to be just wonderful. Yep. So bad thinking is no better than sleeping, huh? It's almost 2200. Should we press, bro? Rudolph and the rest looked at Kraus. He was sitting down firmly and looked like he was awaiting Kinzo's arrival with an air of composure. They couldn't tell if he really was composed or if he was scheming about how to tie together his lie. Dear. Calm yourself. We won't get anywhere by making a fuss after all this. Let's leave it to Genji. It's almost 10 o'clock, isn't it? That was the time that had been set for tonight's family conference to open. And it was the time that the Ushiromiyas family had needed to appear. Right then, they heard the sound of footsteps approaching from the hall. There were multiple sets. Nasuhi raised her head, relieved. But because of the sound of a knock, her expression was filled with disappointment. Because Kinzo probably wouldn't have knocked. Please excuse us. I have finished closing up the mansion for the night. It was Goda and Kumasawa. Unlike the powerful Goda, it was rare for Kumasawa, with her old body, to be forced to work this late. Of course, Kraus also seemed to know that. Indeed. Good work. My apologies for making you work at such a time, Kumasawa. Oh, it's nothing. I may not look it, but staying up late is still one of my specialties. Ha 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 ha. Wouldn't it be okay to at least let Kumasawa leave without being an observer? It really will be difficult on her body, I imagine. The order was to gather all of the servants as well. I cannot disobey. Tonight's family conference was clearly different from normal. On a normal year, no one was allowed to attend except family members. To have the servants present for such a thing was unthinkable. But this year was different. All of the servants were told to attend. Of course, they were not allowed to talk. They were there as observers. Just what in the world was happening that needed to be observed by 5 servants? Even Kraus didn't know.
I don't look it, but I'm good at staying up late. If you stuff yourself with mackerel too, Kraus, you'll be more manly at night.
Hahaha. I see you're still in high spirits. I'm sure you'll be working in such high spirits until you're 100. Madam, forgive my arrogance, but I have prepared a light snack. I can serve it at any time, so feel free to order it. Thank you. You really are considerate. Please offer refills of coffee to the others. Certainly. After nodding, Goda took the pot towards the relatives gathered at the other end of the table. As he did, more footsteps approached from the hallway. It was a single set, and it was light. Even before the knock, they could imagine who it was. Probably, like, Cannon or someone. Oh, never mind, the other non.
Excuse me. I've taken the children to the guest house.
Good work. Tonight is a special evening. Make sure you stay alert. Yes, certainly, madam. Genji had gone with Cannon to meet Kinzo. There was still no sign of their return. He's gotta show up eventually, doesn't he? The hand of the clock passed 2200 slightly. Once sure of that, Eva spoke to Kraus. Kraus? It's time. Are you still not going to start the family conference? The arrival of the guest of honor has been delayed. Wait a short while. How long? Sorry, but time's up. I won't have you saying, Father hasn't quite shown up yet, over and over until dawn. How can I make a promise about the time Father shows up? Why are you in such a rush? Why not drink some tea and calm down for now? Bro, we're gathered here for a family conference, not a farce. We'll wait 30 more minutes, but if that doesn't work, you'll let us break into the study, okay? Break into? Such an action would be quite lacking in respect for the head. Oh right, our apologies. We'll be good for spending 30 more minutes. I look forward to seeing if you can keep that same smile up 30 minutes from now. So you honestly believe that Father is dead? I have no desire to discuss that now. We can wait until Father comes here. There's absolutely no need for me to argue you down, Kraus. The Ushiromiya headship will be passed on to the proper person in the proper manner. No matter what you may scheme, you cannot resist. Of course, the same goes for me. What are you trying to say? And after bragging all these years about being the successor yourself? I'll turn your own words back on you. I have no desire to discuss that now. All that matters is for Father to come here and proclaim it with his own mouth. There's absolutely no need for me to argue you down. Right? Kraus casually turned Eva's words back on her. Of course, that added oil to Eva's anger. But it didn't ignite. Because in that instant, the sound of a very loud knock rang out. Both Genji and Cannon were usually very reserved when they knocked. They wouldn't hit the door with such a violent strength. It was like a judge's gavel slamming down in a call for silence. So everyone went quiet. Hello, Genji? The door opened slightly and Genji showed himself. Then he spoke with a serious tone different from his usual one. It wasn't the tone he used when carrying out his duties. It was the tone he used when speaking for Kinzo himself. So just by hearing Genji speak like that, the siblings were struck with a sudden tension. Take your seats, everyone. At those words, the dining hall was wrapped in total silence, and everyone hurriedly returned to their designated seats. It was as though students who had been bustling around just before homeroom had suddenly returned to their seats when the teacher came, and it might even have looked humorous. But there was no way anyone would joke about it. Everyone sat in order, and Shannon, Goda, and Kumasawa stood up straight in a row by the wall. The head of the glorious Ushiromiya family and Lord of Rokkenjima, the island that sparkles gold, Lord Ushiromiya Kinzo has arrived. Of the double doors that led to the dining hall, Genji opened the right door from the inside, and Cannon opened the left door from the outside. Welcome, Kinzo.
Everything is fine. Why? Because I am here.
Allsmith. And welcomed by a respectful bow from those two, majestically fluttering his cape, Kinzo appeared. Kinzo's gait had a dignified weight to it, and it was hard to believe that he had reportedly been at the end of his life. Genji pulled back Kinzo's seat and motioned for him to sit. But Kinzo stayed standing, signaling with his chin for Genji to move back. Is he gonna go crazy mode? Yep, he is.
Welcome to Rokkenjima, ladies and gentlemen. Why the frightened faced, Eva?
No, why would I be frightened? I'm just relieved to find you in excellent spirits, father. Oh god, I've never seen that face before, have I?
Eva, you're as amusing as ever, aren't you? Why don't you just honestly say how frustrated you are at losing your bet with Kraus? You can't say it, can you?
Oh, fuck! God damn it, I'm not in that... my voice is not in that kind of shape today. Eva realized that their conversation during the day had indeed been leaked to Kinzo, and she hung her head, turning red.
Well then, my sons and daughters and their companions. Tonight I shall make an important announcement regarding my inheritance and the succession that you all seem so keen on. No, that's wrong! I'm kinda pointing my finger. But first, I must tell you how incredibly disappointed I am. After all, until this very day, no one has been able to solve the riddle of the epitaph.
Even though Kinzo said he was disappointed, a condescending smile rose to his face, as though there was no way the likes of these could have solved it, and his gaze passed through all of them.
I had planned to hand over everything to the one who could solve it, but none have been able to solve it before today. And here we stand, with nothing of mine passed down to anyone.
Oh, yep, he's going crazy mode.
How shameful! To think that not one among you has come forward with the qualifications to succeed me. How truly disappointing, and shameful, and pathetic!
The siblings hung their heads in silence.
Has he always been this crazy?
Shut up! Of course, they would have solved it if they could. True, they couldn't deny that they'd wasted a golden opportunity, but it was just so hard.
It's literally just in the wall outside. Therefore, I am proclaiming here and now that I will suspend the use of the epitaph's riddle as a method of choosing my successor. In short, time's up! This is game over, and what a shame for you all. Even though it should have given you all an equal and fair chance, that's gone now.
It truly sounded like Kinzo was making a victory proclamation.
In that case, will my oldest son Kraus succeed the headship? The answer is no!
Oh yeah, by the way, I was told in the comments that the words in these, greater than, less than brackets were English in the original. Got that? It's just... okay, the Japanese tend to like using English words every now and then, especially no. I feel like they really like that one. What? Oh boy.
You understand, right, Kraus? I certainly gave you the title of successor, but all you did was let it go to your head. Do you know what a successor is?
It means the person who will inherit your position after you, father.
Wrong! The position of successor isn't something that's guaranteed by the current head at all! Listen up, Kraus. I won't tell you this again. A successor is what you call someone who finds everyone else who's after the headship, thoroughly breaks their noses, and makes it so they can never disobey him again. This is not only something that can be said of the headship, it's the same with money. A rich person doesn't mean someone who has money. It means someone who crushes everyone who had more money than himself, and who scrabbles together more money than anyone else. It's the same with talent. A genius is not what you call a person blessed with talent. It means a person who crushes everyone with more talent than themselves. A person who can coerce geniuses and all other people to call them that. Wait, what? Genji, the script is weird.
I'm sorry, Master.
A person who can coerce geniuses and all other people to call them that using strength and charisma. You have a mistaken impression when it comes to all of these things. So you aren't of the right caliber to be my successor.
I'll take your words to heart. Perhaps that truly was Kinzo's philosophy. As a result of faithfully carrying out that rant-like philosophy of his, Kinzo had glorified the Ushiromiya family to the state it was in today. It may be hard to imagine after his immersion in the occult in recent years, but that brutally overbearing outlook was no more or less than Ushiromiyas Kinzo's charisma and aura.
Such an unsatisfactory person is not qualified to inherit everything of the Ushiromiya family. In that case, is Eva, Rudolph, or Rosa qualified? No! Again, no! You were unable to solve the riddle, and you were also unable to use a scheme to drag Kraus down. And also, Rosa, you fucking beat your child!
I did not!
All the three of you managed to do was gather together in a united front to try and extort money from Kraus. And even that scheme was thoughtless. You can't even corner Kraus all by himself. There could be nothing more shameful. You lack the avarice to steal away the position of successor by any means. In order to get what you want, you should sacrifice everything, becoming as covetous and greedy as possible. The goddess of luck smiles upon the greedy. You three, who don't have that wild spirit, are as unfit for the succession as Kraus is.
Even the rest had no words to respond with, and they couldn't calculate what it was that Kinzo was about to say. Was Kinzo actually planning to proclaim that no one would succeed the headship? If so, that would work to Eva, Rosa, and Rudolph's advantage. After all, in the end, they just have to renegotiate everything among the siblings after Kinzo's death, splitting the inheritance evenly, rather. It would surely be more troublesome if a specific person's name was raised and proclaimed to be the successor. But would Kinzo really say something to benefit any of the four siblings after demeaning them so much? You don't think he's going to say that because no one will succeed him? He'll donate all his fortune to charity or something, right? I'm afraid I wouldn't put it past Father.
The blood's just risen to his head. We can't do anything but let him talk for now.
Well then, Father, what thoughts do you have regarding the succession of the headship?
Humph. Since I am so utterly disappointed in all of you, I've lost the desire to hand it over to anyone. Therefore, the Ushiromiyas family will end here. It ends with my generation.
That cannot...
The Ushiromiyas family was crushed long ago in that earthquake. The current Ushiromiyas family is nothing but an illusion of gold I'm glimpsing for an instant, the likes of which will end when I awaken from my slumber. Everything in this world is just a dream, an illusion. Life is but a daydream before the awakening called death. Ah, yes, that's how it was from the beginning. That I should lose everything when I die was part of Beatrice's contract and her curse. As if I'd let you, Beatrice. I will be the one who captures you. Tonight, that goal will be realized.
I get way too into Kinzo's voice out of everybody. He's just so fun to voice, honestly. For a while, Kinzo was overcome with cackling, and his eyes bulged. Whenever he talked about Beatrice, it was always both eloquent and insane.
Foolish children such as yourselves truly are daydreams. It's as though you were never there from the beginning. Disappear. Wake up! Disappear from the doze of the truth that I am. You failures that have not built up anything that makes you worthy to succeed me.
Genji? Kinzo, if I may. Wait, it says San, so it's probably not.
What is it, my friend?
Nanjo! Okay, I'm a stupid idiot. Nanjo nervously raised his hand, asking to speak. Kinzo allowed him to. I understand how you feel, Kinzo. Because you love your children, you expect a lot of them. And as a parent and grandparent myself, I understand how parental affection can make you feel as though your expectations were betrayed. However, you are extraordinary, Kinzo. A genius. Isn't saying that it's only natural for them to catch up to you a little too harsh? Despite that, Kraus, Eva, Rudolph, Rosa, and all of their partners have done their very best to catch up with you.
Ho ho! And just how much money have they built up with this doing their best? After these cowards fail completely in ventures and gain debt, and still try to sponge off me, how can you say that they did their very best? Money is the crystallization of everything in this world. If you cannot grasp that, then you cannot grasp the world. If a life cannot strongly grasp this world, it doesn't deserve to live. Disappear. Disappear from my life and reality.
That's a reckless argument. With that logic, even I must not live. Even so, I believe the time I spent playing chess with you was worthwhile for both of us, Kinzo. You should know better than anyone else that there are many things in this world that cannot be bought with money. I was slipping into Krause's voice there on accident. As the siblings motionlessly hung their heads, they cheered Nanjo on inside their hearts. Not one of the siblings could offer their opinion in front of Kinzo in a rage, but Kinzo's close friend Nanjo alone was allowed to. Even though Kinzo had raged so fiercely, after being admonished by Nanjo, he nodded several times as though in agreement. The surprisingly obedient side of him might have seemed cute, but there was no one here who could laugh. It may be true that your children haven't built up as great a fortune as you have, Kinzo. Though, even so, they're rich enough to make me jealous. But besides money, they have also built up many things that cannot be bought with money. When it comes to that, they are in no way inferior to you, Kinzo.
Huh. And what do you claim they have built up that cannot be bought with money?
Happiness. Family. They have found wonderful partners, had children, and each has built up their own happy homes, except Rosa. Stop mocking me! They have glorified your family name and have brought back grandchildren. Grandchildren are wonderful. We older people can look at these young grandchildren who live on into a new era that we will not even be given a chance to see. And in them, we can imagine an endless future. Isn't that the sole entertainment we have in our old age? Remember, Kinzo. Remember your joy when they first brought back their grandchildren. Your children and your grandchildren will carry your great works on to future generations, setting an example. That is something that an individual cannot accomplish no matter how much money they have. The siblings all nodded in agreement. Certainly, Kinzo had looked happy when his grandchildren had just been born, back when he still had some sanity in his heart. However, did Kinzo's heart still contain a human's warmth?
In other words, in exchange for the vast riches I created, instead of gaining money, I have gained my grandchildren.
No, that's not what I...
So in exchange for the several tens of billions in wealth that I have built up, I have gained a single grandchild from each of my children. This is wonderful. So I have created a single life using 10 billion yen. That's how it is. Interesting. Truly an interesting example in the alchemical sense, right? Oh, what valuable grandchildren. Wonderful. Wonderful. Isn't that right, Krause? Is your daughter worth 10 billion yen?
Krause couldn't answer instantly. It wasn't that he didn't have confidence in his daughter. It was because he didn't have a clue what Kinzo was trying to test him with in this question. But when Natsuhi was pressed for an answer, she responded, breaking Krause's silence with an answer for her own interpretation. Yes, Jessica's a daughter I wouldn't let go of even for 10 billion yen. In that sense, I believe she has a value that can't be measured with money.
Oh, so you can state for certain that she's worth 10 billion. Ha ha! What about you, Eva?
He's gonna get to Rosa and she'll be like, well, you see, I'd give her up for $1.
What about your George?
Since Natsuhi had answered that way, Eva naturally came up with her own answer as well. Even though Eva should have known better than to respond to a provocative question like this, she answered as well. Yes, father. George is worth 10 billion. No, even more than that. And that's not in the abstract sense of things money can't buy. George will certainly build up a fortune equal to his worth. He'll become a grandson worthy of carrying on your great works, father. Eva sent a glance at Hideyoshi and Natsuhi as if she'd scored a point. When she heard what Eva had said, Natsuhi was about to add more praise for her daughter, but stopped at a glare from Krause.
I see. Then what about you, Rudolph? What about your Battler? Compared to George, there's nothing about Battler I can brag about. If he was kidnapped and we were threatened with a ransom of 10 billion, I'd feel like sticking a bow on the guy and letting them have him. On top of that, he's an idiot and reckless. He talks about grand dreams and things that couldn't be done. I guess in that way, he's a super idiot worth the equivalent of 10 billion normal idiots. But I'm sure that guy could do things that even a group of 10 billion average people couldn't do. Well, I'm pretty sure he'll fall flat on his face. The world isn't easy. As Battler is just watching this like, damn it, Dad! But at the very least, there's no doubt that watching over his life will be more fun than looking at 10 billion average people. Eva clicked her tongue at that clever style of speech, which would probably match Kinzo's tastes. Apparently Rudolph had done that on purpose, so he grinned back at her. Those two are probably the closest of the siblings, honestly. What of Maria? She's just like, uh-oh. I knew it would get to me. Maria is my adorable and only daughter. Her value cannot be measured with money. That is all. I see. Dreams in the future, miracles and possibilities are the source of my magical power. No magic without hopes holds any strength. Heh. I cannot expect any more from you who have proven to be average. But I see. My grandchildren hold future possibilities, and expecting a magical miracle from them may be worthwhile. If you're saying that, in this way they are worth more than 10 billion. Yes, I can see where you're coming from. When Kinzo got in a rage, he wouldn't let anyone speak up, but even so, he would sometimes accept something on his own while yelling by himself and change his own opinion. That's what this felt like to the siblings. Apparently, even though Kinzo had been disgusted by his unsuccessful children and had cast them away as being unfit for the inheritance of his title or his fortune, he wasn't sure about his grandchildren. At this rate, he might soon say that the inheritance would go to his grandchildren instead of the siblings. Seriously, just pick George already. As the siblings sat in fear of what their fickle and short-tempered father might suddenly think of next, they carefully watched his every move. Let me change my thinking a little. I have absolutely no desire to hand over all that I have to any of you. However, it will be quite interesting to question the grandchildren to see if one of them is qualified. I've always thought of them as mere kids, but there's a chance I'll find a shining gem amongst them that will catch me off guard. And testing them for that would be... Yes, it would be a shame to abandon that final side trip in my remaining life. Well then, what shall I do? I can, with confidence, recommend George as someone fitting to follow after you. Eva claimed that right away. Natsuki looked like she was about to follow along, but Kraus gave her a look telling her to restrain herself, so she swallowed her words. How bold. Then, let us do this. I will individually question the grandchildren to see if they are qualified to succeed the Ushiromiya family inheritance and wealth. Father. However, that does not mean that one of you will indirectly receive the inheritance. I am already disappointed in you all. There is no longer anything I have to give to you. Not a thing. The ones I will question are my grandchildren, and the ones who might succeed me are my grandchildren. Make absolutely sure that you do not mistake this, understood? I shall obey Father's decision. Same here. I'll go along with what he decides. What about you, sis? Of course. I believe Father will make a wise judgment. I will also obey Father's decision. She's just like, God, I'm fucked. I shall think of how to test my grandchildren, which means this is no longer any business of yours. After all, none of you are involved with the succession in any way now. So right here, right now, perhaps we should discuss a different matter that does involve you. A different matter? Indeed. That is tonight's true purpose, and the true purpose for this final Ushiromiya family conference as well. I have no desire to hear your thoughts and opinions. I demand only your assistance. Assistance in my ceremony. Your ceremony? Quiet. Father's talking now.
Rudolph and the rest had automatically narrowed their brows at the occult-like word. Could he be planning to start some strange ceremony involving Beatrice's resurrection again? And he wanted their assistance? What in the world was he planning to do? In the past, he had carried out many eccentricities that he called by the same name, such as starting to burn a strange incense and filling the whole mansion with the stench. To the siblings, a ceremony was nothing more than one of the aged Kinzo's obnoxious hobbies. Father, just what do you mean by that? If we can assist you, we'll do anything. Right, Rosa? Yes, but what in the world is it?
A ceremony as inscribed in my epitaph. A ceremony to revive Beatrice and open the door to the Golden Land. That witch who escaped her cage of flesh and sneeringly slipped through my fingers I shall now capture and force into submission with my greatest hidden art. For that purpose, I must offer 13 people as sacrifices. Gathering 13 people's worth of sacrifices is no easy feat, but tonight is the family conference. Many adults have gathered on Rokkenjima. There can be no other day on which to carry out this ceremony.
He's just straight up saying, hey, most of you are gonna die. Taken literally, it sounded like he was telling them to become human sacrifices for his dark ceremony and die. Ridiculous. Was it some kind of metaphor? But they didn't even have a clue what he was trying to illustrate. The siblings whispered together about what Kinzo was saying.
What's Dad going on about? Is this his usual sickness?
Probably. Listen silently for now. I'm sorry, Father. I don't understand what you mean by that.
What is it you don't understand? I am making this extremely simple. I told you that I'll choose 13 of the humans on this island and offer them as sacrifices in a ceremony to revive Beatrice. Even worthless people like you can be very useful as sacrifices in my ceremony. Listen, this is not a joke nor anything of the sort. This is my final bet, my final ceremony, the last one I will desire in my life. There are now more than 13 humans on this island. In short, that's a head count that can easily satisfy the massive number of sacrifices I require. Become the sacrifices for my ceremony.
Kinzo, you weren't serious about what you said back then, were you? It wasn't a joke? Unusually for him, Nanjo's face changed color as he stood up and shouted. It seemed this wasn't the first time Nanjo had heard all this dark talk about 13 sacrifices.
Sorry, my friend. That was no joke nor anything of the sort. It is what I bet my life on. The final ceremony, the final game that I will attempt. Yes, this is a game. If gaining my fortune and leaving the island is your goal, then there are only 2 ways to achieve it. Will you escape being chosen as one of the 13 sacrifices and spectacularly survive by finally solving the riddle of the epitaph and stopping the ceremony? Or will you kill me and thereby stop this ceremony? Those are your only 2 options.
Interesting. By now, everyone wasn't just whispering, but chattering and muttering away. Even the siblings had noticed that Kinzo was beginning to act abnormally. Father, are you still a little tired? Genji, has Father been drinking? No, the master is sensible.
Sorry, Dad. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Dad's free to start up any weird ceremony he wants to revive the witch he loves. That's his hobby. But getting wrapped up in that and being made into a human sacrifice is a little more than I can handle.
Rudolph, are you trying to interrupt Father?
What are you talking about, sis? You expect me to listen to something that shady and say, oh really?
Was the ceremony Kinzo had mentioned literally something disturbing, or was it some kind of test to choose a successor? It seemed that Rudolph had taken it literally, but Eva apparently still believed that it was something like a test or examination to find a proper successor. But Kinzo responded with a queer smile.
Well then, that is all I have to say. No objections or opinions are necessary from you. I will simply awaken from my dream of having 4 unsuccessful children. To all of you, what will occur now before your very eyes may seem like a dream, an illusion, something that couldn't conceivably be of this world, and a world that defies understanding? but that itself is my reality. Now I will finally awaken from the shallow, useless dream that all of you are. Come, the game has already begun, see? With this many of you here, I can take lives starting with anyone. So long, my unsuccessful children, and for the final and only times in your lives, be useful for my ceremony! Arise, Pendragon's memorial troops!
Huh? Who are they again? When Kinzo raised his arms high like an opera singer and yelled as though towards a packed audience, the air shattered like glass, and the outlines of 3 people who supposedly hadn't been invited to this island appeared. Oh! They said 3. Okay, pay close attention, Owen.
Chiester 45, right here. Chiester 4010, right here.
A new one. What kind of voice you should get like a very serious voice, because you seem like one of those like army general type characters. Chiester 00, right here, sir. I'll say Chiester 00 instead, because that sounds cooler. And I heard a ding dong. Who's ding? Aha, Chiester 00. A weapon of the Sisters' Cavalry, which serves Pendragon. 00 is their calm and composed leader. However, this is merely the role demanded of her, since she's far more frail by nature. 00 excels at reconnaissance and serving as an advanced guard, displaying extreme supremacy in unexpected encounters. However, her excessively powerful fighting strength has been called inhumane, and it isn't rare for her to be lynched and abused when she surrenders on the battlefield. Her one eye silently speaks to that. So yeah, just these 3. I'm just clicking a couple times in case there is actually a 4th. No, it doesn't seem like there is, but since there are these 3, and there were the 4 rabbits, and they just straight up introduced a 3rd one, I feel like they are alluding that there's a 4th, right? The one that Rosa destroyed? Assuming that they're meant to represent, that they're, Maria's 4 rabbit dolls that Rosa destroyed? Interesting. 3 girls with strange forms suddenly appeared behind Kinzo. Where from? When? Who? Who were they? The humans were thrown off balance, and their minds went blank. Because they spent all that time thinking, they lost their last chance to survive.
You have permission to shoot 6 to death. I leave the choice of the targets up to you. Begin your attack.
Oh shit. Unrestricted firing. Understood, sir. Thank you for granting us such excellent targets. Everyone commence unrestricted firing.
Neat. First one in ya. Yeah.
When 410 scratched the air with her finger, a golden bell appeared in empty space, and she pulled its string. Oh boy, so who's dying? The golden arrow that had been readied there was fired off without any hesitation, flew around the room leaving haphazard gold curves everywhere, and chose Natsuhi from among those sitting at the table at the family conference, pulverizing the left half of her face. Goodbye Natsuhi! No! Flesh and deep red blood scattered around, leaving massive red splatter marks on the relatives' faces and a pure white tablecloth. Silence fell. Despite the massive number of deep red spots left on the tablecloth, no one could understand why Natsuhi's head was half smashed, nor why she was hanging her head as though dozing while still sitting, and they watched on in silence. Those sitting on Natsuhi's right-hand side were silent for a relatively long time, but those sitting to her left were not, because the people sitting on that side had been shown how her head had been smashed open like a watermelon or a pomegranate, and could even see inside her. Natsuhi.
One down. Natsuhi, is it? A luckless woman to the end. Next!
00, firing. After scratching the empty air in the same way and readying her bow, 00 fired as well. Calling it, Kumasawa. Oh, she got 2. After it flew around and around at high speeds like the golden arrow 410 had released, drawing a convoluted curve in the same manner. It smashed half of Rudolph's head in the same way as he looked at Nazi in shock, killing him instantly. Oh, never mind, it was Rudolph.
God damn it, I'm first like every time.
Really? Why is Rudolph first in 3 out of the 4 games? That doesn't make sense. Like, what is with everyone's vendetta against Rudolph? This time, everyone managed to avoid freezing up mentally. Realized that a fearsome murder had just started playing out right in front of them, just as Kinzo had said. And they realized that Kinzo would probably kill even more. Ah! Yeah! Shrill screams burst out. Even so, they didn't know what to do, so they could only keep screaming and flapping their wide open mouths like goldfish. Father, what do you think you're doing? You fool! Run now! As Eva asked Kinzo that in total shock, Hideyoshi, who had come to his senses faster than anyone else and risen to his feet, pulled at her arm from behind. They're both probably dead, aren't they? However, Merciless Fate's choice for the third sacrifice was Hideyoshi. Just like the 2 before him, half of Hideyoshi's head was neatly smashed, and the right side of his head, which had happened to be facing that direction at the time, had been blown away with its contents exposed like a watermelon or a pomegranate. So still holding Eva, Hideyoshi slumped backwards and fell down. Still held by her beloved husband, Eva fell over backwards with him. Damn, so Kraus, Kyrie, and Eva just all lost their spouses. Alright, time to guess number 4. I definitely wasn't right about Kumasawa. Number 4, I'm going to guess is... Nanjo. Dear? Eva screamed. It was only natural. The face that she had been looking for had been half lost, and the crushed skull, the mashed brains, and the crushed jaw lay bare.
45. Impact, it's a hit.
Spectacular. Fire again. 3 more remain.
Father! What is this supposed to be?
Oh shit. When Kraus stood up forcefully and was about to rush Kinzo, Double O blocked him. With her slender-looking body, she held back Kraus with just the palm of her right hand. He still tried to resist and attack Kinzo, so Double O lifted Kraus by the nape of the neck and twisted into his Adam's apple with her thumb. It seemed to be very painful, and Kraus was overcome with agony.
Everyone, run! Get the police! An ambulance! Quickly!
Everyone, let's escape! Escape! Nanjo's sharp words finally dissolved the spell that had been holding them down in their chairs. When Goda and Kumasawa each tried to escape from the dining hall first, 410 moved in an instant and appeared there, blocking the way.
You sure are slow, yeah? Did you think I would let you escape, yeah? Hey!
Help me!
Why is he smiling? Goda, duck! Okay, Kyrie. Even though Goda didn't understand, he crouched when he heard Kyrie's sharp voice. Then a burst of air rushed above his head. Kyrie had taken a big swing with the chair to mow 410 down. But 410, still with a mocking expression, easily caught that widely swung hair with a single hand.
What a scary woman, yeah? You really want to go the same way as your husband that much?
Alright, so was I right? Is it Nanjo? From the cuff of her arm where she had caught the chair, something like a shining golden snake appeared, wrapped itself around the chair and burst open. It was a fearsome power, like a vice. When Kyrie realized that the being in front of her, which looked like a girl, was actually something that surpassed human knowledge, and that a human could not even begin to oppose, her head was filled with a fierce alarm bell that welled up from deep inside her. Genji, Shannon, and Cannon, all of the servants permitted to wear the one-winged eagle, continued to stand calmly at attention by the wall, with a scene like this before their eyes. Nah, fuck it, I'm calling Genji, making them look very bizarre and eerie. For an instant, Kyrie thought that they'd managed to stay calm because they were with the enemy, and had been given a guarantee that they wouldn't be killed. One of them just died, but as soon as she thought that, the side of Genji's face was blown away before her eyes. Fucking called it! Genji.
45, impact, it's a hit.
Ho ho, Genji, how unfortunate. Rest in peace, my friend. Your death will not be wasted. You will become one of the 13 keys essential to the resurrection of my beloved witch.
The half of Genji's expression that remained was as indifferent as ever. He tilted, fell over, and sent a blood-red splatter out across the floor.
Genji!
We're nothing more than the witch's pieces. Nothing more, nothing more. From the meek and frustrated, no, resigned expressions on Shannon and Cannon's faces, one couldn't sense any naive hopes that they'd be rescued. That's right. Kinzo was, in the truest sense, carrying out these murders at random. In the truest sense, he was killing like it was a game to see who would be saved and who would be killed.
Well then, who we go for next, yeah?
410 looked at Kyrie for a second. In that second, Kyrie was prepared for her own death. She's probably gonna be one of the last ones. I'm calling this. Because they did the same thing with Natsuhi and then Rosa and then Eva. Kyrie's really the only mother left who can be the last one with a gun, you know? When she readied her golden bow in midair, 410 was looking at someone else over Kyrie's shoulder. So as imprudent as it was, Kyrie felt as though she had been saved. Eva? Again, an ugly exploding popping sound rang throughout the room. Who was it this time? When Kyrie turned to face the direction of the sound, she saw blood gushing like a fountain and Eva lying on her husband's chest. Called it again! I guess it's easier with less people. Of course, her face had been half smashed just like her husband's. 410 had mercilessly targeted Eva as she clung to her husband's corpse, sobbing. Let go of Kraus! Kraus? Let go of Kraus! Just stop it, father. Just stop this brutality. Run away, Rosa! Rosa's objection didn't reach Kinzo as he continued to laugh loudly in the blood-spattered dining hall. And she wasn't able to lessen Kraus's pain at being lifted up by the nape of the neck by Double O. So Rosa had no choice but to use force. She lifted up a chair beside her and gave a warning. Father, order her to let go of Kraus. Just stop them from doing this.
I cannot. If that is what you desire, to prevent it using your own power. Cut a path through to your own fate with your own hands. You who have always hid behind the backs of others in fear, let me see you overcome your weakness one last time in your life.
If they said at random, what if Kinzo was the last one? Father. Ah! The chair that Rosa had lifted up swung down at the father who had reigned as a symbol of terror for her entire life. It was the greatest and final act of bravery and self-control in Rosa's life. What Kinzo had said might have been true. If she had grasped that courage much sooner, her life might have become more free, unrestrained by anyone else. Shot? Then there was a bursting sound. The sound of Rosa's chair fiercely hitting Kinzo could not have been this. With the chair still lifted up, she neatly lost half of her head and slumped over. Rosa, you are so fucking unlucky in these games. Still holding Kraus up with one hand, Double O had stuck her other hand out towards Rosa. The golden snake released from that arm had constricted Rosa in a helix and had smashed into her head. This is defensive firing. I apologize for the discourtesy of shooting so close to you, sir.
I care not. So this makes 6 people.
Yes, Lord Goldsmith. This makes 6 people. When she indifferently communicated that, Double O let go of Kraus, whom she had been lifting up this whole time.
Indeed. So the sacrifices of the first Twilight were Eva, Rudolph, Rosa, Natsuhi, Hideyoshi, and Genji.
Motherfuck, what the... It was a massacre that happened in an instant. The interior of the dining hall had been dirtied by blood spatter, and the 6 unlucky victims lay with their heads brutally exposed. In a way that was fitting for that abnormal space, Kinzo's abnormal laugh alone echoed out.
The curtain has finally risen. The ceremony to revive Beatrice has begun. You lucky ones who have managed to escape the first Twilight, allow me to introduce you to my friends.
Rosa feels like she was the only person who might be able to defeat Kinzo, though, you know? Especially after her bullshit at the end of Chapter 2.
Arise, my friend! Ronove!
Been a while, bitch. When Kinzo called Ronove's name, the demon butler showed himself in midair, bowing respectfully. Pleased to meet you, everyone. And good day to those of you I haven't seen for a long time. It seems this place is once again spectacularly untidy.
Pay it no mind. It takes a stimulant of this level to wake me from my daydream-like days. Allow me to introduce my friend, a reliable butler and one of the 72 great demons, Ronove.
I am pleased to make your acquaintance. Just who was he making that introduction to? Kraus and Kyrie, who were still down on their backsides, and Nanjo, Goda, and Kumasawa. That's no fun. Oh, there it is again. Okay. I am super sorry. It smells like something's burning. I don't know if the house is on fire, but this is a weird place. Nope, never mind. My mom's cooking. Wow, okay. Every one of my videos have to be interrupted by something, but that's one of the funnier ones, so I'm not even mad. Kraus and Kyrie, who were still down on their backsides, and Nanjo, Goda, and Kumasawa could only look up at this middle-aged gentleman they didn't know in shock. Only Shannon and Cannon seemed to recognize him, and they bowed deeply. So, I wasn't able to greet Genji. I hope he was at least able to fulfill his purpose painlessly.
It was an instant death from a direct hit to the head. He didn't have time to feel the pain.
Is that so? Very well. At least they're merciful in that sense.
Allow me to introduce another friend. Arise, my friend, Virgilia!
Ah, fuck. Hello. Hello, great demon witch. Once again, a silhouette of someone the relatives didn't know appeared from empty space. She appeared in a refined dress while making an elegant greeting. Thank you for summoning me, Master. Although I would rather not have been summoned into a bloody place such as this.
Allow me to introduce her too. This is both my friend and a reliable counselor, Virgilia. I desire to borrow your great power as the Witch of the Finite. Lend it to me!
Even if I tried to refuse, such a thing wouldn't be permitted for one subordinated by the power of your summonings. As you wish, Master. Still, what a fearsome fellow. To think he summoned 3 of the Chiester sisters' corps, then me, and even Virgilia. Even though it's only in the same area of summoning. To think that he surpasses Milady so thoroughly. How frightening. I can't help but shudder at the Ushiromiyas blood.
In order to carry out Beatrice's resurrection ceremony, I shall give it all as was summoner. This still isn't enough. In order to perfectly succeed in the ceremony, this time I shall summon more. The Pendragon Memorial Troops and Veronove and Virgilia. I can still call more. With my magical power, I can still call many more. Answer to my summons! One of the 72 demons! Gap!
Gap? Gap? You can even materialize her? It probably means that the corrosion has advanced even more on this island. It had already proceeded far enough to materialize us. But now we shouldn't be surprised no matter how great a demon he summons. Has Rokkenjima already been completely sucked into a parallel world then? I hope he does not surrender. He learned a lot last time, correct? After all this time, he won't surrender over this much. Probably, I should say. Well then, shall we enjoy the stage we now stand upon? It seems the main character is the master this time. Let us expect a script of a different flavor than Milady's. Oh, big womp. When Kinzo strongly concentrated his magical power, a pale light gathered in the empty air, twisted, and a magic circle was drawn there with a deep red glow. Well, I certainly don't remember her. What kind of voice? What the fuck is her design, though? This song's interesting. What is her fucking outfit? She looks like a Square Enix character, just bimboified or some shit. Oh boy, and with the sound like glass breaking, a new demon could be seen there.
You did well to answer to my call. Gap, one of the 72 great demons.
Oh boy, I'm gonna end this episode here, because I feel like there's not gonna be a good stopping point for another 80 fucking years, so... I'll leave you on weird what do I call her? Weird demon here. And that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, fuck you too. This was the best episode in a while, honestly. Chapter 4 is looking like it's gonna be a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, if you liked the video, be sure to press the like button. And if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!